Go with me to Matthew chapter 3. We're going to come back. I think we'll come back if we get time to John 1. I want to show you that last verse from Matthew 3 as we transition from 3 into 4. Suddenly, Matthew 3:17, suddenly a voice came from heaven and said, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." This is God saying of his last Adam, very good. Watch verse 1 of chapter 4, Matthew 4:1. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, afterward he was hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread." And he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." So the devil took him up to the holy city, set him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone." And Jesus said to him, "It is written again, you shall not tempt the Lord your God." Again, the devil took him up an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you if you'll fall down and worship me." And Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve." And the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. I know we've all heard this preached probably 100 different ways, what Jesus went through in his temptation in the wilderness. But I want, if you'll indulge me for a minute, to take you back into that wilderness, because I believe that Jesus gives his greatest three-point sermon. I think that Jesus shows you how to overcome chaos in your life. Jesus, the last Adam, just stared the snake down in a new garden. And the last Adam beat him where the first Adam failed. And the last Adam squares off with a couple of pieces of equipment that the first Adam had, and he ignored. God had spoke into existence mankind. The spoken word of God was the most powerful thing in the universe. And God had said of Adam, "He's in my likeness and he's in my image." Adam has an identity that he is God's son, and he has the powerful word of God to back him, and he doesn't use either of them in the garden. Jesus has just come out of Jordan and heard God say, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." Jesus has the powerful spoken word of his Father, and he has the identity that he's his dad's kid. And when he faces the enemy in the wilderness, he never abandons those two key tenets. I am who my Father says I am, and it matters because my Father said it. So every time Jesus responds to the devil in the wilderness, did you notice the first words out of his mouth? It is written. What is he doing? Dad spoke, and when Dad speaks, chaos loses. So it is written. So anything I say to you, I'm going to say on the authority of my Father. But the second piece of information is that I am the Son. I don't have to prove it to you. I don't have to prove it to myself. I am what I was created to be. I'm my daddy's kid. And if I'm my daddy's kid, here's how dad's kids respond to chaos. Now let me make sure you understand this. John chapter 1 says this, "To as many as believe on his name." John chapter 1, this is right after the whole, in the beginning was the Word, and Word was with God, and Word was God. "As many as believed on his name, to them he gave the authority to call themselves the sons of God." How many of you have believed on his name? You have the authority to call yourself the sons and daughters of God, which means that you have the equipment Jesus had. You've been brought up out of the grave in a newness of life to fulfill all righteousness. And God has said of you, you've heard it with your spirit ear, I'm daddy's daughter, I'm daddy's son. Whatever the Father says about me is real. Whatever the Father says about me is my equipment. It's how I face off the enemy in the wilderness. It's the answer to my chaos. It's not some blanket Jesus is the answer. It's me speaking who I am and what I am into my chaos, and what does that look like? And I'm going to be faced with three unbelievable challenges in the wilderness. Jesus is faced with three things that represent the hardest things we'll ever overcome. And where I think the message of grace has dropped the ball is it is leaving people as if they have no equipment other than just take it. It's almost like we're so scared of performance that we don't think we should ever hear what we should do. So anytime someone says, "Hey, Jesus showed you what to do in the midst of this," we'll go, "I don't live by rules, I live by grace." And I'll think, what do you think the whole purpose was of watching your last Adam face chaos? I mean, what's the point of being one of the sons of God if you have a template of one of the sons staring chaos in the eye and saying, "Watch how you overcome it"? But then when you get a chance to stare off chaos, you go, well, I'll just believe. That's great. What do you believe in? Well, I believe in Jesus. Okay, do you believe that you should respond to chaos the way Jesus responds to chaos? Do you believe that you should investigate how Jesus handles the enemy, maybe then handle the enemy that way, rather than just rolling over and taking it and going, well, grace will take care of me? And I think we've dropped the ball a little bit because we've been so anti-do anything, because we're scared that this will turn into do something, that we've almost made works a bad word in the grace community. Like, I don't do anything. Well, that's something to brag about. You don't do anything? No, I just believe. And boy, it sounds so holy. When it comes to believing for your righteousness, by God, don't do anything. Believe, because that's what you are, is righteous in God, and you didn't do anything to make that happen. Right? Absolutely. He became sin so you could become righteous. What should you do? Believe. When it comes to facing chaos and the enemy attacks your family and your stuff and your mind and your money and your body and your country and your neighbor and your enemy, you can hit like and click Jesus is the answer and then go binge on Netflix. And you didn't do anything but just believe. And Jesus gave you the antidote to chaos. He said, this is what you're going to have to do. This is what you're going to have to look like.